Welcome to the Comics Experiment, the weekly show right here on Comicstorian where I sit here with a guest or many guests and we discuss something that would be interesting in the comic book world. This show is streamed live on twitch.tv/EligibleMonster every Thursday morning-ish, 2 p.m. Eastern, where we do basically 1 to 2 of these episodes at a time and have a great time with you, allowing you to see behind the scenes as we film the show. It's also brought to you early over on our Patreon, patreon.com/Comicstorian, where we are attempting to build a pseudo podcast kind of network, a secondary income to support our staff over here and allow basically for us to have a stable platform where we can bring you additional content and you can help us out. It's a give and take kind of a thing. That's what we do over there. Today, I have a special guest because Rob decided to go on vacation again. That guest is Sal from Comic Pop.
What up, everybody? Hey.
Dylan, insert like cheering. Oh my God, the live audience, Sal. Oh man, you know what'd be funny? If Dylan doesn't put the cheering
And it's
in,
just me looking like a jackass.
We're just jackasses.
Yes.
Sal, also, have you ever wondered about, like how to make your skin smooth, how to help your hair look full and just more attractive, and how to have great sexual wellness?
Constantly.
Okay, well let me tell you about our sponsor, 4Hims. 4Hims.com is a great place to get yourself some great hair products, skin products, and sexual wellness. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that in the middle of the episode because they are sponsoring today's video.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, I use them myself. I didn't think I looked so amazing.
Yeah, I think so.
All the time.
No, it's true.
Permanently.
You got a nice healthy glow about you.
I do?
Yeah.
Oh, I could also be pregnant. It's either 4Hims or I'm pregnant. You decide which one. All right, so.
Nice.
Okay, you guys ever seen the movie Junior?
Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger gets pregnant?
I remember.
I want to try that.
Don't. If it's anything like that movie, it's going to be a really painful experience.
If I get pregnant and I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger, can you be my Danny DeVito?
Yeah. By the way, there's actually a fund for the first man to actually get pregnant. They get a couple $1 million or something like that.
Is there?
Yeah, there's like a fund set up for the first man who can achieve pregnancy.
Okay, well, using 4Hims for your sexual wellness, impregnate me.
Oh, I don't know if they'd want us to use the product for that purpose.
No, you're probably right. All right, so when we were coming up with the ideas for this, Rob went on vacation.
Yeah.
You and I were chatting about what we should talk about today, and you had a great thing.
Oh, thank
and
you.
I feel it's very timely because of Green Lantern coming out this week. So if you're watching this live, this is very timely.
Yeah.
If you are watching this on the YouTube side, we're a week off because of the delay of getting this up. Mm-hmm. But Patreons and Twitch, you guys are getting it very timely. But Green Lantern #1 came out today.
Yes.
We're not going to talk about the actual issue because it just came out yesterday. Mm-hmm. And I don't think for our topic we need to talk about it.
I think you're right.
Because the topic you brought up is, does DC even have a real timeline continuity, or does DC just kind of pick and choose what they want to have in their stories?
Yeah. I think yes. Honestly, I think that's exactly where we are. We went from crises being these narrative excuses to reestablish the timeline, right?
Yes.
And I think that DC was listening to some criticism over the last couple of crises when they said, okay, you know what? We do have a lot of crises, okay? But we don't always want to deal with the new universe that comes out of it.
Yeah.
Because everybody's always asking the same questions. What happened? What didn't happen? What matters? What is this? How does this fit to here? And with Rebirth, which I think kind of was a runaway for success for them, I don't think they expected Rebirth to be as much of a, big deal for fans as it was.
Yeah.
I mean, they were like, Rebirth, it's kind of like Convergence, but you'll like it more. Where it's like it's a stopgap for until the next thing. But Rebirth became this thing people really responded to, and the old school fans really galvanized behind. I think that with Rebirth, they're like, okay, this could be a perfect opportunity for us to reboot the timeline,
right,
or bring back the old timeline. And you'll notice that everything they do, whenever they're referring to something that happened pre-Flashpoint, they didn't undo Flashpoint.
No, they didn't.
They didn't undo the New 52.
It's more directly in reference right now because you're reading Flash.
Yeah.
They're like, Iris, what do you remember before Flashpoint?
Right, exactly.
There's something before Flashpoint.
Yeah, the Flash books have actually been the most beholden to continuity because they're the ones who are the reason why we are where we are.
Yeah.
But there's this weird world we live in where there was a pre-New 52 universe. Things changed, then it was New 52.
Yes.
But we have New 52 Superman and Rebirth Superman, and they were merged into one Superman.
But if you're reading sideways, Action Comics Superman just came back this week?
Yeah.
I
saw
this
that.
This is like the best week ever to talk about a timeline, what is going on.
Exactly. No,
I didn't even read the annual, but he's back.
He's back.
Yeah,
and I don't even know if...
Is it really him?
Is it really him?
not?
Is it Superboy Prime in disguise? Like...
That would be amazing.
I know, but I hear the Bendis wants to use him, so probably not.
Bendis has whatever he wants.
But that's the thing. It could be Superboy Prime anyway, and then Bendis will do his own Superboy Prime. Like, it doesn't matter. But yeah, you're like, that's the thing, is that like there is no concrete timeline. Even when like 0 Hour came out, and they finished up 0 Hour, they're like, in the book, here's the timeline.
Right.
Here's the date. This happens, and this happens. And, so good luck making it all fit. But now it's like, was Tim Drake Robin or not?
No, it was kind of Red Robin.
Right,
but
but
Batman always considered him a Robin.
Yeah, except that A Lonely Place of Dying still happened. You know what I mean? Like, all the stuff that made Tim Drake into the Robin 3 still happened, even though there's no way that New 52 Tim Drake could have done any of the things from pre-Flashpoint universe.
I mean, Batgirl's another great example.
Batgirl, yeah.
Batgirl literally got paralyzed. Oracle happened, apparently.
Right, Oracle happened.
And she turned like 30, 35, but then we just decided to roll her back to college, make her a millionaire, and she can invent technology to walk again.
Right.
And we're just going to ignore it until we need to bring it up.
Yeah. And they just try not to. I remember, who was it, who was working on Batgirl when they were establishing Burnside and everything, and she was like, oh no, Killing Joke didn't happen.
Yeah.
And DC's like, oh, it did. I don't know if you know this, but Killing Joke sells great.
Yeah. No, it definitely happened.
So we're not going to make that not happen. But yeah, but that goes to show that editorial is just kind of like, as long as it sells, that's all that matters.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with that to an extent. I do to an extent.
Okay.
I don't like that we willy-nilly throw things in and out.
Me too.
Now, I mean, we can both agree, right now, continuity is kind of out of whack.
I think for both universes too, for like DC and Marvel, but just looking
There's
at
certain
DC,
books that reflect.
Yeah.
And there's certain books that are ignoring everything.
Completely. And all of them are important.
Yes.
That's the problem, is that like Tom King's Batman is universally affecting everything, but he's doing what he wants.
Yeah.
But and ignoring what happens in Flash.
Batman is broken in Justice League. Literally, every bone is broken.
Yeah.
But in Batman,
totally fine.
We haven't even got the reference. Scott Snyder said there would be a reference.
Yeah.
That's all we're ever going to get, a reference.
Yeah, exactly. No, and it'll be a throwaway line, and I know it's just a favor by a friend.
Yeah.
Like if
what it'll
King
be
and
is
Snyder
after
hate
this
each
current
other,
little thing he's doing is, like, and there's a time jump. Well, the time jump, it's because he was healing up with the Justice League regarding the totality.
Yeah, and Snyder might like advance it a little bit to be like, no, the cocoon thing he's in, he only needed like 3 days. Although I don't know how long Drowned Earth takes place. Like, how long is Drowned Earth? Like, is it a week? Is it 2 weeks? Is it a month? Is it a couple of days? Like,
okay, so I'm trying to think where we can go with this conversation. There's a whole lot of things to talk about.
yeah, like, is the universe, is there a concrete timeline?
Okay, before we go to where we are now.
Right.
Okay? Let's go back.
Okay.
Back at Final Crisis days.
Yes,
that was part of
pre-Flashpoint.
I want to say that was the last time that there was like, no, everything is in continuity. It doesn't line up perfectly, but it's all in continuity.
Right.
Okay, I think
that was the last time.
That was the last time that was the situation.
Well, that was the last time until New 52.
Well, in New 52, everything was in continuity, but that's when things started to get a little messy.
Very. So start with your Final Crisis.
Well, what I was going to say is, so back in those days, where everything basically did happen, and it was almost a mandate, you have to reference it.
Yep.
You have to keep
From
it all.
86 to 2003 or whatever, this all happened.
Yeah, this all happened, and it has to be this way.
Yes.
Did you like that?
Yeah, I did. As a reader, I liked it because, again, when I got into comics, I hadn't read everything, but I could go back and find it.
Yeah.
And it gave me...
Because you knew it was all important.
Exactly. And also, like, it gave me a library. Like the new books that came out back then, there were a lot fewer books that came out per week. But it opened up a big opportunity for me to go, like, okay, well, I'm only reading, like, let's say 3 DC titles a week. And those don't come out every week, they come out every month. So every month, I get 3 DC titles. Well, that doesn't really fill up my library too much. But if I go to a comic book store or a garage sale or whatever, I can fill my library from 3 to 300 if I wanted to.
Yeah.
And they all take place in the same continuity, the same chronology. I'm filling in gaps. I'm answering questions. I'm learning more about this universe that I'm actively participating in now.
You learn more and more about it.
Exactly.
One thing I hate is when somebody asks me to do, and this isn't hate on the fans for doing this.
No, it's just.
But I'll get a question, hey, can you do this story? And what I hate is sometimes I have to respond with, I can't because it doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
It doesn't matter in continuity. No one references it. The whole thing has been just I know it's your favorite story.
Yeah, but it didn't happen.
I only have 7 days a week, and only 5 of those are complete stories. I have to pick and choose what stories I'm putting out. And sadly, your story isn't in canon anymore.
Yeah, and despite what the editorial will say, where they're like, oh, every story matters.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, but if you're reading it as part of a universe that has rules and that you are actively participating in as a reader and you have an investment in, then things did and did not happen.
Yeah.
Things matter and don't matter. Even if editorial says they do because they're in charge, that doesn't actually reflect the truth and the reality of reading an in-continuity story. So, no, like, I'm sorry, it didn't matter. Like, so when it came to...
That's what I hate, especially like right now, it's the way Comicstorian's structured.
Yeah.
The entire idea is that you can get caught up on your stories.
Exactly.
So you can jump in.
So you can jump in now.
Right.
So you can jump in 30 years ago and then catch up.
I mean, one thing that I hate one thing I do hate, going into comic book stores, meeting any of the old nerds, the old guard of comic book nerds.
Yeah.
What I don't like about them is I'll have a lot of young kids come up to me. They'll be like, hey, Comicstorian, how do I get into such and such?
Right.
My normal response is, hey, if you want to get into Batman, go check out Batman #1 from Rebirth.
Yeah.
And then you got a nice library to go digging through, and it's all current stuff, and you can be up to date as to what's currently happening. Or, hey, how do I get into comic books? Go grab Justice League, grab Avengers, find a hero you like, start going out of that.
Yeah.
But the old guard will like to come at you and be like, well, if you want to do Batman, first you got to read 1984's The Dark Knight.
Right.
Then you have to read Nightfall. Then you have to read No Man's Land.
Right.
And then don't forget about doing the side story there. Detective Comics, 684.
Right, like Bruce Wayne Fugitive, Bruce Wayne Murderer, like I
Yeah.
realize. Now that being said, like as a representative of like old school comic book fans who did read those books and like those things, I have a very different perspective on that. And not about that approach, because I think that's very alienating for a new reader or for a potential new reader.
And that's what I think the problem is, because then you also go like, okay, those are amazing stories. I agree with you on that. But if you're trying to get into comics, don't go read all that old stuff.
Well, like for me,
You have to be introduced, and then you can go back.
you need the introduction. For me, it's like if you're getting somebody who's green, totally. I don't know anything. I'm aware of Batman, but I haven't read any Batman comics. For me, I grab evergreen stories that are essential to the character. So it's not necessarily about the universe, not about the continuity. It's more about like getting the character and getting you figured out whether you like this character or not. If you like Batman, then you're probably going to like these 3 books I'm going to recommend to you.
Yeah.
And they cross the gamut. They're going to be from New 52, from the old guard, from like old times. You know what I mean? Like 30, 40 years old to 10 years old to only like 2 years old. There's a couple of stories that are out now that are really, really great that you can pick up that are still in print now. And like, so what I like to do is give them a nice little like spectrum of like 3 or 4 graphic novels.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, I like Batman, now what? And it's like, okay, well, do you want to read Batman day to day, like week to week, month to month? Or do you want to just read the best Batman stories? Because you want to read the best Batman stories, well then, we can get No Man's Land. And we can go get like Killing Joke. And Killing Joke will probably be on my first list, but like, but even with Killing Joke, like Killing Joke's kind of a hard sell too, because not only are things not nearly as dark as Killing Joke is on a day-to-day basis, but it's also like, oh, what happened to Barbara Gordon? And then you find the problem.
And that's when you come to me and you ask me how to get into it. A lot of times people are asking me because let's take an example, Aquaman.
Right.
Hey, I just watched the
out.
Aquaman movie. I want to go read Aquaman stuff. I could give you 20 years of amazing stories, or I could be like, look, if you want to be up to date, you want to feel like you know what's going on, you want to be able to talk to your friends about a book that just came out.
Yeah.
Go read Aquaman from this point forward.
Here's Rucka's Aquaman from Rebirth, and then start from there.
Yeah, there you go.
Or not even that.
Rucka didn't do Aquaman.
What? Didn't he?
No, Rucka did Wonder Woman.
Was it Abnett?
Abnett.
Sorry.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, no, that doesn't sound right at all.
No. Rucka should write Aquaman, though.
That would be amazing. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's true. Well, but my approach still stands, where it's like, okay, grab the 3 best Aquaman stories. Teen Titans. Titans is out.
But see, at least
DC
you have
Universe.
that one. A lot of times when I see the old guard come in, it's a list of like 10 books you should read
before
you even consider current stories.
Right. Well, but that's the problem, is that like, no, read the current stories and figure it out. But if you want to like know what's probably some of the best and most evergreen stories, then these are those. Like, check those out.
Yeah.
But like, I don't recommend if you were like, I want to start Batman just now. I wouldn't jump in the most recent issue.
Oh, no. I whenever someone says I want to jump in now, I normally tell them to go back to the beginning of the current run.
The run. And that's the thing. That's why Marvel for me is almost easier to jump into and easier to deal with because
they have a new #1 every 6 months?
Well, that sucks. But because it's all driven by sales, not about helping the reader. It's all about like, well, we statistics have shown that #1s sell 20% better than any other number.
Right.
But like, Marvel has one singular continuity, right?
Yes.
So like,
the rolling timeline theory.
The rolling timeline theory. And so as a result, even attempting to jump in should be impossible, but now you can identify the character through runs.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, well, they fought this god and it rebooted the universe, so like the whole origin's different. No, if you want to read Spider-Man, here's 3 runs, right?
Yeah.
And that could encompass 60 to 80 issues, but it doesn't really affect much.
Just as a personal goal,
Yeah.
I know you'll appreciate because you're bringing up Spider-Man and
I am,
runs.
yeah.
I've made it a personal goal because I have all of the Wally West run for Flash.
Okay.
My personal goal is to get the entire Dan Slott individual issues.
Wow. I'll just give you mine. Because I have them all. Like, because I did. Like, I jumped in from Straczynski. I have Straczynski
You've been getting it every
month.
See, because my collection starts back at around the time frame of 2000. Where was I? 2012 when I started getting the floppies again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a great time. I will say though, I had been consistently reading Spider-Man, but I fell off for a good chunk of time. Straczynski got me back.
That's what happened to me. I fell off
Yeah.
during part of Dan Slott's run, and on top of all of that, I didn't have money, so I wasn't just buying books.
Yeah, you couldn't just buy they were $3.
Yeah.
Now they're $6 or whatever. Woof.
Anyway,
But,
I'm sorry.
But no, it's but like I find that's a great approach because then you can here's the thing, pre-2011 you could say, oh, you want to read Batman? Pick up No Man's Land.
Yeah.
Because it's like everything that happens in that story, A, happened, B, affects everything that happened before and after, and C, is in the one singular continuity. And so if you want to just read a ridiculous story about that turns everything on its ear, there you go. But
Now it's out.
It didn't even happen.
No.
Or it did. Because
We don't know, and that's where we're going to go to our next point, though.
Right. Yeah. No, please.
So everything was in continuity.
Right.
You said you preferred that.
I did prefer that. I liked it. I liked it all in continuity. I liked it all kind of like. I liked having a legacy. It also grew the characters a little bit, but of course we know that the guys over at DC are terrified of the characters aging.
Yeah.
So you can't have that. You got to have a reboot every time.
Right.
At some point.
So Flashpoint goes down.
Flashpoint goes down.
And it's the first time, as far as I know, that because when Flashpoint first started, nothing was in. It was we have restarted.
Literally, they restarted. No, you and I both chatted with Scott Snyder on our own channels,
Yeah.
and he's the one who said when he was approaching 0 year, he was of the opinion I want to do year 1. I want to reference year 1 and stuff. And I think his editor, or it was Didia, who said, you realize that the Catwoman from our timeline now is not the same Catwoman in year 1.
Yeah.
No characters from year 1 have the same origin. The only thing that's in continuity as far as you're concerned is Batman, and it's different now. None of that happened, so you can't use year 1 because it didn't even happen anymore.
Yeah.
So that's why you had to do 0 year and make it this totally different thing. That was the hardline approach from DC with New 52 was, no, the stuff you read didn't happen anymore.
Yeah,
it is over.
That's how they started it.
Yeah.
They're some of it here and there did, especially Batman and Green Lantern.
Right, well, we're not going to throw away everything.
We're not going to throw it, but they wouldn't say what it was.
Exactly.
So as far as you were concerned as a fan, we're just starting fresh.
Yes, and if that were the case, I am convinced that New 52 was almost an afterthought, that Flashpoint was just their opportunity to do a reboot, and it, by the way, paid off.
Oh,
New
yeah.
52 sold like gangbusters.
I love the amount of people.
People.
I love, just as a side tangent on this topic,
Yeah.
I love the people that are no, New 52 is horrible and almost tanked DC.
Yeah, no, it
no.
didn't.
You didn't want to read New 52.
Yeah, it tanked your interest in DC.
You correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know the sales numbers, but I believe New 52 is the highest point comics ever reached in the last 20 years since the 90s.
I think that's true, and if not, it certainly
It's
was
very close.
It was the highest point. I think it outsold Rebirth.
Yeah.
which is like, and that's
because it was a big deal. This wasn't just a crisis with a soft reboot.
No.
This was hard line in the sand.
Well, that's
your
the thing.
favorite superhero. This is the way they were tagging it. But your favorite superheroes are starting over. If you felt confused, jump in now.
Which of course was a mistake because like Jeff Johns was in charge. Green Lantern's all the same. Everything that I did before still happened.
Yeah.
So if you jump into Green Lantern, there's all this continuity you got to remember.
Like, Green Lanterns was like a good for jumping on point for like 2 issues.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Oh
and
no!"
then Sinestro showed up, and they're like, "Necro and Blackhand," and like,
come on. Batman, same deal, because like Snyder didn't know when he was working on Court of Owls whether it was going to be a reboot or not.
Yeah.
So that
But
was.
luckily with the Batman thing,
Yeah.
Court of Owls, Night of Owls, Death in the Family, they're so standalone.
That's the thing.
They didn't matter.
But that's the thing with Batman. It's like that's why it's easy to pitch 18 graphic novels and not have them go, wait, what happened? Because Batman stories are evergreen. It's about a guy who solves crimes. Like, just have an original crime and you got into yourself an original graphic novel. But no,
Our Twitch chat is stating that Swamp Thing was flames. I loved Scott Snyder's Swamp Thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was amazing.
That was great.
The Raw world was a bit weird, but
Yeah.
the world got taken over by rot.
Yeah, a cool idea.
It was a cool idea, but the execution crossing into Animal Man was a weird choice.
Now I wonder with New 52 when they were like, okay, New 52, if there was some planning involved, if they were like, okay,
Well, it's widely known at this point that New 52's planning was like 6 months.
yeah. Now, if they had had an opportunity to end the previous universe, to have like a real, true, the end.
Okay, so
story,
actually, let me ask you that because you were there and we've never discussed this. You were there during the transition.
I was.
For me, the reason I got back into it was 2011. The reason I got back into floppies was because they're like, okay, well, it's a fresh start. So I'm like, oh, I will start buying monthly again.
Yes.
Because it's a fresh start.
Right.
Before that, I bought trades. I had read floppies up until to 2000 age.
Yeah.
Dropped off, started just buying trades.
Yeah.
And then started reading trades. It was 2011 when the New 52 that I was like, I can jump in and not feel weird that I'm buying comics. Like, they're all number ones. I'll just start with these.
Exactly. Yeah. And you also don't feel like you have to do homework to get ready for it.
I don't have to do homework because it's all a fresh start.
Yeah.
Which actually turned into me just doing even all the stuff that I'd missed. I started collecting again.
So you really ended up doing it anyway.
I ended up doing it anyway. But from what I understand, DC just ended. Very much how Secret
just
Wars.
stopped.
Yeah. Like DC, like Secret Wars did that with a lot of the Marvel books.
Yeah.
DC did the same thing. They just stopped.
Yeah, they did, literally there was no good like definitive ending to DC pre-Flashpoint. It was just that the books were coming out. Flashpoint happened as its own series and had tie-ins, of course, but like Flashpoint was an event and people were just like, cool, this is a fun event. In fact, if you recall, like most people were really on board for Flashpoint and they loved the new Flashpoint universe and all this crazy cool stuff and like the new dichotomy between like warring Wonder Woman and like crazy Aquaman and all this cool stuff. But when it became a reboot, all their favorite books were canceled, basically. Yeah. And they didn't get a send-off. For me, that sucks, but maybe it was also dangerous because if you're saying basically, well, everybody, we're ending Batman, but don't worry because next month there'll be a new Batman.
Yeah.
You are mostly selling to hardcore fans. You're mostly selling to people who buy on the regular. If you tell the regular people who've been buying for 40 years, your Batman's over, they're going to stop reading. And the concern is, will the new readers who they're always chasing, who they never quite get, if the new readers don't come, then they've basically thrown the baby out with the bathwater. Yeah. And so you gotta, and there's no good metrics to prove that that's a good move, to have a definitive ending. But I do feel that if they actually did have an ending for the pre-Flashpoint universe, it might have tasted better for the old fans to be like, sure, you're doing something new. At least I had my conclusion.
What if tomorrow they announced a 12-issue run, the conclusion to the original?
Yeah, DC The End?
Yeah.
If they had done that, I mean, like, we kind of almost got that a little bit in a couple of those Convergence tie-ins.
Oh, we did, yeah. They some of the big loose ends, they were like, we're going to wrap those up
Exactly. And they did a couple of those, but it wasn't quite because it also had to tie in with Convergence.
Yeah, they were all like, oh, we're in a weird bottled world.
No, if they did a thing kind of like Secret Wars where it's like, or 52, where it's like there's a weekly event that ends the universe. That's like kind of like we'll look at the big wide scope of the DC universe, but then they'll be like it'll be called like DC The End or something like that.
Dude, that would sell like a. Well, I don't know why they don't do that.
No, but watch this.
DC The End.
DC The End. That's the main series, and that just looks at the bigger picture of the universe.
What they all did up to Flashpoint.
Well, but then you've got the tie-ins: Batman The End, Superman The End, Wonder Woman The End. All the books that either got canceled, Batwoman The End, Batgirl The End. Like every book that ended or got canceled or ended prematurely that's set in that universe people were like complaining about. Wally West the end, like you can do tie-ins. You have like 1,000 tie. It'd be like Secret Wars all over again.
And you have literally, I mean, in the world of YouTube, titling. We have another episode we're going to film after this called Batman the Murderer.
That helps us out big time.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, you give me, but
give me a miniseries called The Flash the End.
If I were to call up my brother who doesn't read comics on the regular, or he does now, but he wasn't at the time, and I was like, hey, go to your local comic book store and start reading the end. DC is literally publishing the end of the universe. From the previous universe.
Right.
It's an amazing concept.
It is. Yeah.
Let's just end everything and give everyone. How would things end?
The problem is if they did that, because of how much they're borrowing, using, and saying. Because what we're talking about, is there a continuity at DC right now? And I say no. And I think you agree with me. Is there is like there's no hard line continuity.
No, there isn't
no
right
timeline.
now. We're going to talk more about that.
But like so. They're calling back, they're aping off of everything, right? So, and they're like, whatever, as long as you tell a story that sells over 100,000 units, I don't give a shit. So like, but they do that, if you end the previous universe, you have to establish the new universe.
Yeah.
You can't go like, oh yeah, no, but A Lonely Place of Dying still happened. Like, you ended that. You have to go all in on New 52 or something like it.
Yeah.
By the way, my pitch for the name, drop the New 52, call it DC Rebirth, but make it a true rebirth.
Yeah.
New universe's rebirth. And it's basically just like a distillation of everything that happened, but like in an actual concrete, this is the continuity now kind of way.
I think you're right. I think that would have made the ending feel so much better for a lot of the fans. If
I think people would have been more willing to jump into New 52 who were old school fans.
Yeah.
Who were like,
it did very well with the newcomers.
Yeah.
Did very poorly with the old guard.
Right. And it's actually been kind of like an anchor around the neck of DC since then, because every time they do something and it's cool or it's well received or it sells well, you got the hardcore people going like, I don't even know what's happening anymore.
Yeah.
Like, what happened? Who is this? Like, there's disparity between Snyder's Run and King's Run.
Yeah.
Like, Snyder was told, no, year one did not happen. King is saying like, oh no, there's one of two origins for how Batman and Catwoman met. One's from year one, the other one's from 1942 or whatever. So it's like, neither of those happened according to New 52, and that's the only universe that hasn't had a crisis to end it.
Yeah.
If there was something that happens where New 52 does definitively stop, and now it's like, no, it's all of it now, or whatever.
Well, that's where we are now.
Like, you need Wave Rider show up and go like, no, time is a river,
Wave Rider.
I'm just, but like Wave Rider is a great representation because like he's a holdover from the 90s. Who cares?
I don't know if you've shown me that Wave Rider. Is Armageddon, I think, is the event?
Yeah.
That was the first event I read.
Really?
That was it.
That was a bad time to jump in.
My dad got me into comics, and for some reason, that's the series he had collected.
Ouch. That's awesome,
So
though.
I remember sitting in his room, because he had him on a long box above, and he'd pull it down, and just going through the series.
I don't know what's happening.
This is so cool, but I don't know what's going on.
No, Armageddon
Who's
is not...
Wave Rider?
Yeah, Wave Rider.
Wait, look, Dan, look up Wave Rider. Wave Rider he looks like a rainbow.
He's Gold Silver Surfer.
Yeah, he's Gold
but instead
Silver
of the
Surfer.
Cosmos, it's time.
And he goes through time, and he can. And the whole plot was Wave Rider
And Rip Hunter?
He's just giggling behind the camera. It was Wave Rider would go through time, and he would be like, basically like you're Sal, and he would touch you
me.
and see your future.
Yeah.
And he was trying to find who was the villain that ended the future.
Right.
And it was supposed to be Ted Kord?
It was supposed to be...
That was Ted Kord.
Okay, no, it was originally supposed to be, I think, yeah.
Turned into Hawk.
Yeah, well, because it became Hawk, and then Hawk became...
No, but there was an original guy, and it leaked, so they changed it.
Originally, it was supposed to be Batman.
Was it going to be Batman?
Yeah, and then they were like, you can't make a Batman. And then they're like, okay, well, what if it's... I think it might have been Ted Kord. I think you're right. But I remember
it was someone high enough, but it leaked out.
Yeah, it leaked, and so they changed it to Hawk.
Yeah.
And then they made
Hawk from Hawk and Dove, if you've been watching the latest
and then they made Hawk,
Titan show.
Yeah, and then they made Hawk into Extant, who is a cooler idea than a character, and Extant...
Captain Atom, Tevye says.
Captain Atom, thank you. He's totally
Captain
right.
Atom.
It was Captain Atom.
But then they made it into Hawk, a guy whose entire purpose is to punch things.
Right, it was so weird.
But now Hawk goes into the future and becomes this megalomaniacal, tyrannical leader and rules the planet.
Yeah, but then it turns out that all feeds into 0 Hour, and then it turns out it's a Hal Jordan parallax anyway, so whatever. But Armageddon, I'm sorry that was your entry point, but I'm impressed that you stayed after reading that event as your first event. But I'm just saying, but Wave Rider shows up and he's like, it's all basically like, how the source wall broke?
Yeah.
They're like, no, like there's a source dam against the River of Time, and it too was broken, and now we don't know what happened.
Yeah.
We don't know how many fish, like time fish, entered into the stream from our, you know what I mean? Like, it's...
Just to follow up on my Wave Rider story, though, you'll appreciate that. That story got me into events. Spider-Man, because Clone Conspiracy, the Clone Saga.
Yeah.
That got me out of events. I was like,
Clone Saga made me
gone.
quit. Yeah, no, I quit mainstream comics after the Clone Saga.
Same here. So I was like, I'm done. I'm just going trades.
Yep.
That was the last story.
I went high school. Like, I went sports. Like, I joined the cross country team. And
You're like, I'm done with comics?
Yeah. I still read Spawn, though.
I still read Batman. I didn't read Green Lantern then, but I think I read Flash because Wally and all that stuff. I still read some, but mostly I went trades at that point.
No, when they announced...
We had a place where I lived, Newbury Comics, and
it
was the old school...
in Rhode Island, yeah.
But it was the old school kind of comic store. Where
Not the FYE that Newbury is now.
Yeah, but it was like here's the 6 from the last 3 months because we haven't updated in forever. So it's hard to keep up.
Yeah, no, that's true. No, when they announced that Peter Parker was the clone and the Ben Reilly was the original one, I'm like, and they also kept like inserting in all like the comics that Marvel's putting out at the time these little surveys where it was like, would you like to see Mary Jane and Spider-Man get divorced? Would you like to see Rogue and Gambit get married? Would you like to see Sabretooth as a hero or a villain? And that plus that made me go, oh, no one's paying attention or doing anything. No one knows what's happening. This is all bullshit, and I left. Yeah. And I just quit. And it took me a long time to get back in. But, you know, I did. And then I filled in the gaps, because you got to.
Yep.
And but I'm glad I did. You know, it's good to like take a break for a little while.
No, it is. Comics are great, but yeah, even these days, sometimes I'll skip a couple of weeks just to kind of be like, I'm just going to read them all in bulk and just take a couple
exactly.
weeks.
No, I think Jack Kirby's the guy who said like, comics will break your heart. So you got to take it.
You know what I think though? I think if your heart is broken,
yes,
you may want to take care of your hair, your skin, and your sexual wellness because a portal has opened. At this point, you guys know that I'm an avid user of 4Hims. 4Hims is a great product to allow you to keep your hair, have healthy looking skin, and be sexually well at all times. It really does improve your lifestyle overall by giving you ways to just look and feel better. Most of you guys have been here for quite a while, but if you haven't used 4Hims yet and you're enjoying the Rob and Benny experiment, then check it out because you get a free trial month of 4Hims for just $5 today right now while supplies last. You can check their website for full details, but this would cost you hundreds if you went to the doctor or the pharmacy. Go to 4hims.com/RobandBenny. That's FORHIMS.com/RobandBenny. ROBANDBENNY. 4hims.com/RobandBenny. It's definitely something that I recommend because as I've said with many other products, coming out of the military, I did not know how to take care of myself from a visual perspective. Sure, I know how to work out and sure, I know how to go and buy clothing and stuff like that, but how do you take care of your hair, your skin, and keep yourself very fit with the sexual wellness department? That is 4Hims, guys. And Rob and I both recommend it to you. And a portal closes. Next episode, I'll let you open the portal.
Okay, cool.
It's really cool power. When you open it up, advertisers show up.
Oh, nice. I could use a couple of those portals on my
Sal just takes my portals to his show.
Yeah. Just call me Blink.
Dude, I can see you in the middle of a back issues and you're just like, oh, portal opens.
Yeah.
And Ben and Ethan are like,
what?
An ad's supposed to play here.
Exactly. Yeah. Black screen, no ad. And we're back.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah. So
back to our main topic, though.
We went to New 52, and then we won.
Here's the problem.
Okay.
For the guys who don't know what happened with DC,
Yeah.
New 52 was doing okay.
Yeah.
But then New 52's original plans fell through. You know the original plans, right?
What was
they
that?
were hyping for the invasion, and all those B-listers were going to be the headliners for it.
Yeah.
Grifter and all those guys.
Oh yeah.
They were hyping for this invasion that never happened. Then they moved towards the mythological side with Trinity.
Yeah.
But that never happened.
Nope.
They moved towards a Forever Evil. They started kind of throwing darts at a wall to see what was going to happen.
The thing is that like they also they put their eggs in a lot of baskets. Like a lot of events just didn't work or sell.
Yeah.
Future's End, Convergence, what was it? Even Trinity, like the Trinity
they,
War.
Yeah, they were really trying to make events work.
Yeah.
And at the time, as much as I enjoyed New 52, I will say Marvel's events were doing a lot better.
They were. Oh no, Marvel redefined events. I mean, when Civil War happened and it just blew the doors off of the concept of an event, DC was like, okay, we got to take note of this.
Yeah.
And even though that was, I think, 6 years before New 52, like they made New 52 happen, and it was like, the problem with events with your fresh universe is you really can't make them work.
No.
Because if your Justice League is new and they don't know each other, it's not fun to watch them work together.
No.
You know, like if the...
Oh, you ran into that problem with Superman Reborn.
Well, that was my problem with Justice League Origin, where it's like, first of all, they don't know each other. Secondly, you can't start at 11.
Oh, yeah.
You can't have them fight Darkseid and then have them go like, well, we beat him. And then if Brainiac show up and you're like, nah, they're like, please.
No,
we just fought the devil.
No, that was fun because they did Darkseid first.
Yeah, and then that guy with the book.
It was a guy with a book. He was a reporter who was injured by the Justice League. That was the plot.
Yeah, like...
They went from 11 to 2.
Yeah, like, what? And I appreciate... It doesn't have to be
what
that.
was the third? I don't remember what the third one was. Now I'm going to look...
I think it was Aquaman.
Oh, yeah. No, that was pretty cool.
That was cool, but it took... You know, and that was John's. He was on the entire run. But, like...
Yeah.
But it took... Yeah, Throne of Atlantis. But it took... But still, you're thinking about any event they had, any major... I mean, you can't have them fight the devil every time. You can't have it like Darkseid, and then Trigon, and then the Anti-Monitor comes back, and I'm running out of main characters. who else is bigger? You know, like...
There is no one bigger.
No, you know what they could have done, though? They could keep it big, but then...
That's the way you did that.
Yeah.
It's Darkseid, and then the
Trigon,
Anti-Monitor.
and oh, no!
Necron!
Yeah, right, Necron? Like, but is he established? Like, can I do that? It's
Can we use
52.
Thanos? Okay, Marvel, can we use Thanos?
Yeah.
We ran out of big guys.
Yeah, exactly. Can we just use more Darkseid ripoffs? Mongol, there you go, Mongol. That's our Thanos. Okay.
We got Thanos.
We got that. Never mind, Marvel. Get out of here.
Oh, let's go, evil doppelgangers, crime syndicate. Putting them in.
Evil doppelgangers. Yeah. Yeah. They should have had Joker versus the Justice League. That should have been an event. I mean, they did that already, though.
When did they do that?
I think Joker thought he was dying, and so he took on the Justice League.
We haven't had anything like that in 10 years, though.
No.
I would
so
pay
do another one.
So much for the Joker versus the Justice League.
Yeah.
He just says screw it one day.
Yeah, if it was a Justice League book where Joker...
Because we've seen in other continuities, he can mess with them all.
Totally.
And Justice is a great example of that.
Exactly. But, like, you know...
He's like, oh, I'm bored. Let me go mess with Superman.
Yeah. Like, yes, have I seen the Joker and Superman fight, or at least match wits? Yes. Have I seen the Joker take on the Justice League? Sure. Have I seen Scott Snyder write that? No. Have I seen Jeff Johns approach that? No.
Yeah.
Come on.
I wonder if they're saving it for something huge, though.
I mean, if they are, they're doing a bad job because Joker's in everything.
Oh, he is now.
Yeah.
That was the worst part about the New 52 launch.
Yeah.
It was like the Joker's like your best Batman villain, and he's like, well, he cut his face off and we don't know where he is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What?
Then when he comes back, they used him in everything. It was like, okay, we'll slow your roll there, DC. But
we don't get him for 2 years.
Yeah.
And now he's
nothing but
Joker every week.
Yeah. And then finally Jeff Johns like, and there's 3 of them too. Like, okay. But like,
there's 3 Jokers, guys.
Oh, God.
Now everything makes sense.
And that's coming soon.
The point I was going to make, though.
Yes, please.
DC eventually realized, I think it was 4 to 5 years in, New 52 is spinning its wheels now.
Right. Like, that's the thing is like because there was no planning. Not to interrupt. I'm just saying, like,
no, you're fine.
Because there was no planning.
I don't know if you know the way the show works.
Right. No, I've seen it. I've been on it. But like, you know, because there's no planning, they weren't able to go like, okay, well, we're gonna do it like this, and we're gonna establish that like the universe is about 5 years old, and that like the Justice League started here, and we're gonna do the prequel comic now. We're gonna do, and like, but like it having an actual trajectory.
Yeah.
So that when they were 5 years in, they didn't need to reboot again. You know, so they didn't screw up with like the Ultimate Universe, where it was like, don't worry, jump in. There's no continuity. Well, after 10 years, guess what you got?
Continuity.
So, you know, but yeah, there was no planning. So by year 2, they were like, uh-oh. Also, all the speculators left, all of the like casuals left.
Yeah.
And so who you're
Because
left
the
with?
storylines are making no sense at this point.
Right. Well,
so what?
Yes, because the casuals are jumping and going like, I don't know.
Well, looking
some
at
of
it
them
from
are
a marketing standpoint,
Yeah.
we had Harley Quinn and we had Batgirl, and both of them were kind of ignoring the rest of the storylines.
Yeah.
Because that was Batgirl at Burnside.
Yes, and Amanda Connor's Harley Quinn. I
Yeah,
think.
and they were both ignoring continuity, and they were some of the best sellers at DC.
Yeah.
While the rest of the New 52 was trying to make continuity work still.
Yeah, like build their own thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So they moved to, and everyone forgets this thing existed. They ended New 52 as the marketing line.
Oh, yes.
And they launched DCU.
DCU.
And the slogan for DCU was, continuity doesn't matter, we're gonna tell great stories.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not against that.
No, I think it was a great idea. It's
But
just
you can't do it on your line-wide everything.
No, well, you can't do
Because
it.
then we have T-shirt Superman and 3 storylines involving him,
Yeah.
and none of them lining up properly.
Well, that was the big problem with New 52, because, like, what was it? Grant Morrison was like, I'll do the origin for Superman with Action Comics.
Yeah.
And they were like, George Perez will do the main Superman book. but we'll also tell him not to do XYZ, and then he'll quit the book, and then we'll have to like just slap it together and find anyone else to work on this. And also, they're not going to work with Grant Morrison, so they're not going to line up.
Yeah.
So like you already screwed it up because you don't have an actual origin for Superman.
Yep.
And you didn't have, and the only
Remember
one
the
that
Secret
actually
Origin books that were coming out at the time too? I missed those actually.
DC loves those Secret Origin books. They've been doing them for 40 years.
Oh no, I know, but they were great at the New 52 because you were like, "What origin's the one that's going on right now?"
Yeah.
Oh, you gave it to. We're good.
Right, except that, like, you know who didn't read those? The people working at DC, because like then writers would just do whatever they wanted, right?
Right.
And DC wouldn't go, and that's why you need a continuity director at those two publishing companies. By the way, they need a person who's literally the job. I'm continuity director, and my job is to make sure it fits, and I have editorial like veto power, you know. But like they're not an editor per se. Their job is just to make it fit.
That's what I think Rebirth is, because in my opinion, what happened? DCU was a giant gamble to be like, well, let's make everything like Harley Quinn and Batgirl, where we just tell really good stories. And for the record, during DCU, some of the stories were really good.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
I liked Powerless Superman. I liked Robo Batman.
These were all cool ideas that could work.
Yeah.
But on the heels of New 52, and with no good direction, and I don't mean like good direction in terms of good quality. I just mean like no direction from the leaders.
Yeah, but in all honesty, it was the same problem Marvel had 2 years ago.
Yep.
Where none of the
everything was all new and all different, and they've replaced everybody.
They replaced everyone, and no one matched up. Regardless of it being Clark Kent, Powerless Superman was not the same Clark Kent.
Superman is defined by his ability to do anything.
Yeah, Batman being there as a robot bunny is cool.
Just getting rid of Batman. It's Jim Gordon.
Yeah, they made a Jim Gordon. Batgirl was still in Burnside. I think that was Robin Year of Blood, so he was off doing some weird mythological thing.
Right? I didn't even read it.
It's actually really good.
Okay.
Year of Blood is really good.
I'll check it out.
But what I'm saying is, they kind of did the same thing in their own way.
Yeah, but like
Marvel's like, oh, here's all your.
And Marvel did it later, so Marvel should have learned their lesson from that. But you know, they're not.
To swap everything out at once. My argument that I had with Marvel at the time was, if you went to your favorite restaurant and you still had a safety meal, you're fine.
Yeah.
You'll try new things because you can always get the safety meal.
Right, but if you replace the whole menu,
that's the issue, and that's DC kind of did that with DCU.
Yeah.
So like they considered it a failure, but I'm like, it's more of a failure because you changed everything.
Yeah, you needed to trickle that in. Or at the very least, like, you know what you do? You don't call it anything.
Yeah.
You just do it as part of the organic story.
Yeah. Creativity over continuity. Now, Rebirth, I think, is a nice happy medium.
Definitely.
Where we're getting stuff in continuity, but we're getting things like Tom King's Batman that doesn't fully line up. Because Scott Snyder at least would reference what's happening.
Yeah.
Like when Damian died.
Right.
It was in Scott
Even though
Snyder's
clearly
book.
Snyder doesn't want to work with Damian, he put him in there.
Yeah, he was in there for the death. Like
Yeah.
Snyder still remembered everything that was happening in the New 52.
Yeah.
They would reference the Justice League things. They would have the tie-ins.
Right.
They would make everything work.
I'm concerned that they'd only work together when they like are friends and know each other. Like when it comes to the Aquaman writers don't talk to the Bat staff. So there's just there's going to be no disparity or nothing but disparity between those two books.
Yeah.
So, but you know, but because Tomasi and Snyder know each other, okay, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Like we'll make it work.
Well, so that brings us to today.
Yes.
Today we're at Rebirth. There's certain things in continuity. I'd say Justice League is definitely in continuity.
Right.
I mean, well, they're all technically.
They're all like Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman, Justice League.
Wonder Woman was the only one that I feel like.
But Wonder Woman's weird.
It's weird.
But so is Green Lantern.
No, well, definitively today.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Right.
Green Lantern 1 came out, and it's throwing out. Unless they change it. As of issue 1, though, it looks like everything's being thrown out.
Right.
And we're starting over.
Now, they could be saying that, like, Grant could be doing, like, kind of like an alternate Earth 1 book, even though Earth 1 Green Lantern is amazing. But, like, he could be doing something like that.
Wasn't he supposed to have Earth 1?
Like own it? Like Grant Morrison was going to...
Yeah, I could have sworn he was supposed to do it, and they changed it last second.
That would not surprise me.
I feel like it was like the Greg Rucka situation, where he was supposed to do his own Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, we gave it away by mistake. Here, take Wonder Woman.
Right. Yeah, because Rucka was supposed to do the Earth 1 Wonder Woman book. And then they couldn't do it. Yeah, that's... I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with Earth 1. I think it's a great idea and a great line.
I don't know why they don't do more with it.
It should be the ultimate universe for DC.
It kind of is, but they don't do it.
It kind of is, but a book comes out every 3 years. So I have no idea. Like,
I'm still waiting for The Flash.
Yeah, well, you're going to be waiting for a long time. Because, you know, I mean, I'll be waiting for that Batman Earth Volume 3 forever.
Oh, God. No, Jeff Johns is writing again. We have hope.
Yeah, no, Jeff Johns is writing it and Gary Frank's drawing it. So whenever Doomsday Clock finishes, then I'll get Earth 1 Batman. So I'm never getting Earth 1
So 2020.
Yeah, 2025. I'll get Earth 1 Volume 3. But Flash, you're going to be waiting forever. I mean, like...
Isn't it Brian Azzarello and
I don't even know.
Ivan Reese?
Ivan Rice.
Rice?
I don't know.
He did Aquaman Forever, and he did the original. What happened? I haven't seen him on a book in forever.
I know, right? That's weird. Either way, Earth 1 is its own thing, but I don't know.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Rebirth. So this brings us to our ultimate question. We kind of just went over the timeline. We gave our gripes. We talked about it in this podcast. Rebirth is everything is in continuity. Rebirth is implying things from the past are back in continuity. We still don't have a definitive, this is the continuity.
That's right. And that's the thing, is that there is no definitive continuity. It's just whatever the writer remembers and wants to put in the book.
Well, the worst part about that, Green Lantern is a great example again.
Right. Okay, yeah.
We've gone farther. When we started, Blackest Night happened.
Yeah.
We have gone farther and farther from that as the years have gone on.
Totally.
And I feel like with Grant Morrison #1, the spectrum doesn't matter anymore.
Right, there isn't one.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't say that, but there's also no reference to them at all in any way.
In any way, shape, or form, there's no reference to there being more of a spectrum.
We don't even really see much of a fallout of what Hal has been through for the last 5 years.
No, he has okay, right off the bat, he has a ring powered by his own willpower that needs to be charged.
It needs a battery.
We're right back to square one with Hal.
Yeah.
Which then once again begs to differ the question: what's the continuity?
Yeah, and that's why I think DC is almost there. They almost always learn.
See, I like the idea of Black Label.
Yes.
Multiple
labels. Black Label, Earth 1. Make a, you call it DC Prime or something.
That I don't know why. DC Prime, you have to be in that continuity.
Yeah, exactly.
If you want to tell Tom King's crazy story about Batman and the
wedding, over there.
It's over.
It's in Black Label.
It's a Black Label.
It's a Black Label book.
Black Label doesn't have to be
just hardcore
penises
mature.
And boobs.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be
ass everywhere
it doesn't have to be adult themed.
Well, because everyone's always is freaking out right now. They're like, "Oh man, WB freaked out. They censored Batman's penis."
Yeah.
Now we're not going to get Harley Quinn topless.
That's right.
Now we're not going to get any more.
You're not.
We're not getting.
Black Label is completely changed as a result of the fallout from that book.
But everyone's looking at Black Label as oh, that's where we were going to get our superheroes nude, and I'm like, yes,
technically,
but why can't we use it for something?
We're doing it?
Yeah, why can't we just have out of continuity things?
Right. Yeah, and that's why they need to resurrect the Elseworlds line, and I hope they're learning the lesson. They brought back Vertigo.
Yeah.
But Vertigo isn't where I'm going to put my out of continuity Green Lantern book. But bringing back Vertigo and doing Vertigo-esque stories is a great start. But it needs to be that DC is never afraid to make a new label.
Oh,
so make more.
What's it? Zoom. There's 2 kids lines coming out.
Right. Yeah.
When I was at DC last, we met the woman who's in charge of that. Mm-hmm. It's the Zoom and what? They're each geared for different age brackets.
Bendis is in charge of one of them, and I don't remember what that one's called. But yes, but they're doing a kids line. They're doing.
I like the idea of different imprints. You can say DC Zoom, DC Impulse,
right.
DC.
Actually,
Black
you know what?
Label.
You don't even call it. You can, although because the app is called DC Universe, but I was going to say the prime time DC line you call DC Universe because that's in continuity. It's in this universe.
Twitch chat is saying that there is references to radio waves and infrared lanterns in GL1. Yeah,
but they didn't say anything about the Sinestro Corps.
That's my point. To clarify that, my point
they
is...
don't visually appear. There's a big tease at the last page where it's what's going to come out of it. Nothing even remotely connected to it.
If you go to the last page, they'll show you what's coming up in the Green Lanterns book.
Yeah, the only thing...
No red lanterns, no blue lanterns, no yellow lanterns, no infrared...
Also, the Guardians look totally different.
What?
Also, the Guardians look totally different.
The Guardians look totally different. What I think they're going to reference is this new ultraviolet light spectrum.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because from my interview with Scott Snyder, we asked him about that. He said, "Oh yeah, no, him and Grant have been working on that."
That's great.
So that is going to come up. So I think that's where the infrared waves and the radio waves are coming from.
Okay, so that's not a callback to the original Spectrum. That's actually a reference to something new.
I mean, my biggest problem is Blackest Night was the event that really dragged me back fully into comics.
Blackest Night was awesome, but it's also hinged entirely on the continuity from the previous universe.
It is,
which is why I like continuity because you get stories like Blackest Night where it's oh my God, who's a Black Lantern? Everyone who died. And then you're but everyone's died. That's really clever and a great use of continuity. And you need the continuity in order to have those kind of payoff stories.
Everyone's died. Everyone has died.
But everybody died. We all died. Oh no. Seriously.
That was the greatest line ever in Blackest Night. Oh, you don't have to be dead now. If you've ever died.
Exactly.
I left the door open.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah.
But and those are earned when you have the shared continuity.
Right, but that's my argument about the Green Lantern, by not even showing in the back panel, oh, look at the other Lantern Corps, they're gonna show up.
Just look at Darkseid. What even happened? Like, Darkseid was a baby, he was a teenager, he was an adult, he fought them in the Justice League in a different costume, he's in his original costume. Mr. Miracle, what is that? See, Mr. Miracle, like the Tom King book, which is spectacular.
I haven't finished it. I've been waiting for it to wrap. It did wrap. I got to buy the trades. I'm going to just,
Dude.
I want to sit and read it as a trade.
You need to, because it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
But like, that book, that should be its own imprint book too. And not just because, I'm not trying to like spoil anything about continuity, I'm just saying like, it's something else.
Yeah.
In terms of quality, in terms of the continuity, and so that Tom King doesn't have to feel like he's restricted by continuity.
Well, Mr. Miracle, I think, is completely out of continuity.
It's nuts. I don't even know.
I think it is. I think it's in continuity in the sense of, well, Mr. Miracle's in nothing else, so it doesn't matter.
Right. The last issue will tell us, because the penultimate issue kind of like teased what was happening. But I haven't read the finished product yet.
Well, so Darkseid is actually explained in Odyssey.
Right.
They do like a quick rundown.
Yeah, but he looks totally different from the baby and from the origin one. Like I don't know, the Darkseid War. Like,
yep.
Oh, the Anti-Monitor's back? Was the Anti-Monitor here the entire time? Is this the Anti-Monitor from before? How come he's not referencing anything that happened pre-Flashpoint?
Sell?
I'm just saying, like, it's just, you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Just take a deep breath.
you can't have your cake and eat it too. You gotta pick and choose. You gotta be like, no, you can't do it that way. Like,
so is there one? Is there a
no? Absolutely not. There's no
the semblance
timeline.
of one, in my opinion.
They're it's the illusion of one.
What I think there is, in my opinion, here's our timeline, and here's everything happening on the outside, and it's like they're like orbiting the timeline,
right?
And if they sell, it's on the timeline,
right?
And that's how I think it is right now.
Yeah.
Because even with the three Jokers,
yeah,
they came out and they're like, "Is it in continuity?" And they're like, yes and
right.
no.
Oh, you mean the Black Label book?
Yeah.
Not the phenomenon
Yeah,
that
no.
is.
Jeff Johns is like, it is, but it isn't. It'll reference continuity. Like, what does that even mean? You know what that says to me? That says to me, if it sells really well and you like it,
right,
it's in continuity.
Well then, in Darkseid War, they say there's 3 of them. That's in continuity.
Yeah.
No, for me, I think that the reason why there's no hardline continuity, this is the timeline, is because DC has figured out that it's easier to just not answer the question than definitively do it. If they definitively do it, they lose readers. No matter what we choose to do, we lose readers. So let's just not choose to do anything.
Well, I think part of it is the mystery.
Right.
In all honesty,
everyone loves the mystery. Well, the Doomsday Clock mystery.
Everyone loves the mystery of where does everything fit, what's been removed, what's in continuity. That doesn't just apply to comic books.
No.
The mystery of some of your best things. Fortnite it's so much hinged on its mystery storyline.
Really?
Oh, there's a whole mystery story. Where's the island? What is going on? What's with the spaceship? Part of what makes, because what that leads to is a fan base that theorizes.
Yes.
And that leads to you ending up on YouTube making videos theorizing what's going on at Fortnite. And we've done it. What's the timeline for DC? Well, here's what I think. Everything fits in. I've got 2 videos about the DC Rebirth timeline where it all fits together.
Right.
I'm trying to think of other things that had more often than not, when the definitive answer comes out for a mystery, no one likes it, and it's done.
Yeah, by and large, it is universally reviled, and it's because it never fits in with everyone else's theory.
No, it never fits in with your theory because we want the mystery. We want to be guessing. We want to sit here and go, I have figured out your continuity, DC. You'll never give me credits because I've figured it out.
You know what's funny though? That's the mystery box. That's the J.J. Abrams mystery box.
Yeah.
But you know what? People were pretty upset that Ray's nobody.
Yeah.
And that
that's also because J.J. Abrams didn't make the second movie.
Right. But I'm just saying, people were more happy with the idea of
Can I read about that for a second?
Star Wars?
No, Mr. Abrams.
Not everything has to be a box.
No, if you make the mystery box,
you have to know what's inside of it.
Thank you. You have to tell the next guy what the plan is.
Exactly.
Don't just go, all right, so Rey is, she's going to be a Jedi with really mysterious parents. Okay, cool.
Good luck.
Good luck, Sal.
Oh, well, I don't want to tell that story, so I just won't. And that's exactly what he did. Rian Johnson's like, I'm not going to tell that story. No.
Yeah. Oh, I get to do the second movie? No, I don't want to do that. No. I want to do a kid
When
with a
Luke
broom.
takes that lightsaber, that's him taking the mystery box, just throwing it in the garbage.
Yep, that's exactly what it was. I love J.J. Abrams, but I love the fact that he is so good at making a mystery box and he doesn't even have the answer himself.
That's the problem.
Look at Cloverfield.
Cloverfield. Well, let's not.
Look at Cloverfield.
Cloverfield's awesome.
Look at Lost.
Lost is the thing. Lost is he didn't know.
Oh, he didn't.
But he dragged it on. That's the problem. That's the problem. You can't drag it on forever without answering the question.
Yes.
And DC needs to know that lesson. And so the problem is, if DC doesn't, they got a Lost on their hands.
Well, what I think DC's doing is they're not going Lost, where they just don't have the answer.
Yeah.
I think they're implying and hinting so that you have the clues to put it together.
I don't think so. I don't think they have a plan. I think that the same people who rebooted DC, who created the New 52, who fell into Rebirth, they're the same people in charge. They don't learn lessons. Like you don't get change from the same guard who makes the same decisions all the time.
You and I need to come up with the template. We are going to come up with the timeline, and then we're going to get everyone to tweet out #We figured it out.
We figured it out. we got all the clues, and you know what? The problem is like just like Rick and Morty fandom, where they're like, "Here's what happened," and then Justin Roiland's like, "Oh no, they figured it out. I have to change it now." Yeah. And it's like, no, but it works. It's organic that way. With DC, if we were to say
another rebirth,
they would either rebirth it or they'd be like, oh. Well, these two schmoes on the internet figured it out. We got to come up with something new now. We got to hawk this guy up, turn him into somebody else. So, like, what you got to do instead is call up your contacts at DC and be like, "Here's the timeline. Use it, and I don't even need my name on it. I just want you to use it because it actually makes sense."
Can you put it on a whiteboard in your office?
Exactly. I know you don't have a plan. You can say you do, but we all know if I just blink twice, we all know there's no plan. Use this. And it'll work, I promise. They'll love it. Wink. But that's the thing.
You want to end it under wink?
Yeah, wink.
Wink. All right, guys, we figured out the timeline. Wink. All right, I'm going to wrap up this episode here.
Sure,
so we can move on to our next topic.
No, please.
We're going to be filming, which is Batman a Murderer? So if you want to subscribe to our channel, get that next week. Or if you want to stick around here on Twitch, you can watch us do it live on Thursdays. Twitch.tv/EligibleMonster. You can also go to our Patreon to get early access to these episodes, patreon.com/Comicstorian, where we're putting together like a podcast network of things with the entire team, from talking about conspiracies to just having a couple beers and chatting, to talking about comic books that came out, comic book experiment shows, and even the TV shows and stuff like that. For only $1, you get access to everything, including early access to the videos when we get them done early. Sometimes we don't get them done early, but when we do, we throw them up there.
Yeah.
And I want to know your opinion. I think, because we can ramble about this all day.
Totally.
Do you think that there is a definitive timeline and DC knows what it is? Or do you think DC is just throwing stories out there and just attaching them to the timeline when they feel like it's going to matter? That's what I think it is.
I think it's exactly.
I think because Tom King loved the run, loved Scott Snyder's Justice League. For me, they don't need to line up.
Right.
But there is a fandom that needs it to line up.
Yes.
They want to know what's going on.
Right.
I've gotten a lot of tweets of people that are like, well, Catwoman kicked all the Flashes. How are the Flashes beating her in this one? You know, like
because they wanted them to.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So let me know in the comments down below what you think about that. And don't forget about our sponsor, forhims.com. If you go over to For Hims, you can get wonderful products for your hair, for your skin, and for your sexual wellness. They do great ways to just help you out, make things work better. You know, make it so your hair is full and voluminous and things like that. You know, I do have to say, it is not a hair growth product.
No.
It is a hair wellness product. It helps out your hair. I got in trouble. We were joking around one day. I asked Rob if it would help him grow his hair. And they said,
and they were like, it does not.
It does not help you grow your hair. It makes your hair better.
The hair you
but
want
if you want to support us and you want to get those products yourself, go check them out over at forhims.com. All right, Sal, I want to appreciate you being here.
Hey.
Before we go out, the reason I did all my stuff ahead of time so we can now go, if you like Sal, if you like discussions like this, that is what Sal does on his channel.
Yep.
Comic Pop. Him and his crew have their own discussions about comic books, trade paperbacks, and stuff that is going on, and they also review comics.
Yeah.
I mean, you've talked a lot in this episode, so I'm just going to...
No, please.
Close you out here.
You're doing it
But
succinctly.
You can check them out and all that stuff, and you can also find them on Twitch at twitch.tv/comicpoptv. Thank you guys, and we'll see you next week right here at the Comics Experiment.